Lionel Messi, shall we? Because Miami have been in action. Shock without him. They lost to Montreal. There were some little panic stations that have forced us to ask some questions. They are going to play Nashville in the second leg tomorrow. And like I said, plenty questions to ask here. First of all, that loss to Montreal, how do you wrap your head around it? And is it just solely because Messi wasn't playing?
No, I mean, it's a factor. It's not the factor, but I think everybody needs to calm down. There's 4 games that's been played by Inter Miami, and that doesn't even include the CONCACAF Champions League. As you were saying, they came off a ridiculously overwhelming preseason where they went, I think, to every country in the world to showcase. Yeah, seriously, it was just insane. And also, Montreal have been doing very well. 3 matches, they haven't lost a game yet, and they're second in the Eastern Conference. The specific win against Inter Miami, yes, obviously when Messi doesn't play, and I think Tata was right in resting him, because you can't play this 36-year-old phenom every single season because he is still 36 years old. You can't do that. And as you mentioned, the Nashville first leg in the CONCACAF Champions League, which, by the way, was he took a massive hit, so he probably needed that rest in that game. This loss against Montreal was more about Tata Martino's decisions, I think. He played 5 at the back, a very weak defensive 3 center back unit, at least not a coherent one that hasn't played for a long time. And I believe 2 of those 3 goals came out of set pieces, which tells you everything you need to know. They weren't focused, and Montreal took full advantage. So yes, Messi being there and not being there plays an obvious factor, but they didn't lose because of that. They lost because I think Tata got it wrong from a strategic perspective, and he was a little bit too hesitant with that 5-3-2. And I think in the future, he will learn from that. But you can't play Messi every single game. You can't do it. I've talked about this from day one. Tata Martino's biggest job, Alexis, this season is to be like an NBA coach. You got to balance the minutes of your stars, including Lucho Suarez and Sergio Busquets and Jordi Alba. They just brought in Federico Redondo, the son of Fernando Redondo. My God, how old do I feel, Alexis? The fact that I'm talking about his son now playing in Inter Miami. But so they will get better. They're still topping the conference, but you can't play Messi every single time. You just can't do it. So it's up to Tata to balance those minutes and making sure that the formation is the best possible to move forward. But it's very early in the season. People need to stop freaking out so much.
You talk about feeling old. I was just looking at Lamine Yamal's father, who is literally a year younger than me.
Okay, come tell me.
And he already is a 16-year-old. I don't even have anything, but we moved.
What year was he born in?
He was, I believe, 1990 or so. So 1991. Anyways, we'll move on from that. Let's still talk about Messi, because aging like fine wine still, he is Leo Messi. But as you mentioned, 36 years old. What you just said is definitely what fans of Messi and fans of MLS and fans of Inter Miami and just fans of the beautiful game around the world don't want to hear. We don't want to hear that we have to manage Messi's minutes. But it's true. He's got a contract until at least the end of 2025. So that's still, we're looking at a little over a year and a half right now.
And there's a Copa America this summer as well, and he might go to the Olympics. That's a lot, yeah.
How does that affect then Inter Miami's chances now of further progressing in the league and all the cup competitions that they're in? Because Messi had those fans last season believing for big, because they went from nothing to a lot, 0 to 100 real quick. So how does rationing Messi's minutes now affect the plan and the outlook for Inter Miami?
Yeah, it's a great question, because it is a difficult one to answer, because a few things need to happen. Number one, a striker like Leo Campana, the Ecuadorian striker, who's the backup to Lucho Suarez, who's been there. He was key in that Leagues Cup win that you talked about last summer. He needs to play more. He did play more as well and scored. And players like that need to be envisioned to be like a squad team. Tata Martino has to make sure that everybody in the squad buys in and they're ready. The one thing that worries me a little bit, aside from the fact that there's a Copa America, so Messi won't be around, and then who knows what's going to happen. League Cup, I doubt Inter Miami will allow him to do it, but if he wants to go to the Olympics, which, by the way, he values a lot, he won that gold medal in China in 2008, then that's more time. Then World Cup qualifiers as well, right before the players. There's a lot going on. So Tata has to really make sure that his team is more than ready for it. Now, here's the thing. about this Inter Miami squad. I worry defensively. I don't worry offensively. I think they'll score goals as we saw against Montreal, but I worry defensively. I mean, Aviles, I believe, is 19 years old. You know, Noah Allen, like, is being used there. Like, they're just, it's not a smart way to use your players in that situation, especially in a 5-3-2 or in a 3-5-2, which Tata likes to use. So aside from Messi, the defensive side, I'm worried about. But I think that if they stay healthy, and DeAndre Yedlin's gone as well, who's a massive voice in that dressing room, but I think that as they continue, if they can just learn a little better for each other, then they should be okay. And then Messi, obviously, whenever he comes on, whenever he plays, he'll be able to provide that Lionel Andres Messi Cucitini magic. And Lucho Suarez, of course, we can't forget about him.